Hello and welcome. We spend so much of our lives looking for answers out there in the world, right? We're looking for truth, for happiness. But what if the map to everything you're searching for was already inside you? Today, we're diving into this powerful idea, an invitation to find truth, not by just believing what you're told, but by actually seeing it for yourself.
It's a huge question, isn't it? When things get confusing, when you really need clarity, where do you turn? Do you grab a book, ask an expert, look up at the sky for a sign? Well, the teaching we're looking at today gives a very different and much more direct answer.
And this quote just says it all. Perfectly. The whole path, all those profound truths, they're not in some far-off, mystical place. They are, as it says, right here, inside this body and inside this mind. The lab for this whole experiment is you. So that brings us to this really foundational concept, which isn't a command to believe something. It's more of an open invitation, a challenge even. The word for this is ehipassiko, and it literally means come and see. It's a call to action. It's basically saying, hey, stop just taking things on faith, come and witness the nature of reality with your own two eyes. It's all about getting that direct, first-hand knowledge.
And this is absolutely crucial. This isn't about just nodding along and saying, yeah, that sounds good. It's asking you to do the work, to actually sit down, to meditate, to turn your focus inward and see if these teachings hold up in your own experience. It's an active, personal investigation.
Okay, so if we're going to investigate, where exactly do we point our attention? Well, the tradition gives us a super clear map, and there are only two places to explore.
And what's kind of mind-blowing is how simple this map is. Everything you could possibly investigate about yourself falls into one of two buckets. You've got rūpa-dhamma, which is all the physical stuff, your body. And then you've got nāma-dhamma, which is all the mental stuff, your thoughts, your feelings, your consciousness. That's it. That's the entire field of play. So, the investigation starts with the most obvious thing we have, our physical body. And we're not just talking about a quick glance in the mirror. This is a deep, really honest look at what this body of ours actually is. So you look at all the parts, right? The hair, the skin, the organs inside, but then you look at its fundamental nature. It gets sick, it gets old, it feels pain, and eventually it dies. You see that every single part of it has the potential to break down. And when you look at it this way, you realize something profound. You don't really control it. It just does its own thing, following its own laws, and that's the proof that it can't be this permanent you that you think it is.
All right, so once you've looked at the physical, you turn your gaze to the control center, to the source of it all, the mind. This is where our entire experience of the world gets cooked up. It's where becoming, birth, and all our troubles really start.
And in here, you basically become a scientist of your own consciousness. You just watch. You watch your thoughts. Is the mind just bouncing all over the place? You notice the different parts of experience, the feelings that pop up, the perceptions, the thoughts themselves, and you're constantly checking in, asking, what's the quality of my mind right now? Is it bright and clear, or is it kind of dark and agitated?
So we know where to look, body and mind. But how exactly do we do it? Because this isn't just about random daydreaming. There's a clear method for developing the kind of focus you need to get real insight.
Okay, so here's the toolkit. First, you take these ideas and you bring them inward. You don't just think about them, you try to feel them. Second, and this is huge, you build up your concentration, usually through meditation. Third, that focus lets you start to clearly see the difference between a physical feeling and the mind's reaction to it. And finally, you anchor all this in the present moment. You just let go of the past and stop worrying about the future. And here's a super practical tip for building that concentration. You can use a simple meditation word like Buddho, which just means awareness. It works like an anchor for your mind. Whenever your mind starts to wander off, which it will, you just gently bring it back to that word. It's a way to gather all that scattered energy to one calm point. All right, so let's say you do all this. You've followed the map, you've used the tools, you've looked deeply into your body and mind. What do you actually find? What is the big discovery waiting at the end of this investigation?
Well, here's the thing. You probably won't find what you are hoping to find, at least not in the usual sense. You're not going to find some eternal soul or a state of permanent, unchanging happiness. What you find is something way more raw, way more real, and in the end, way more freeing. You uncover the basic operating system of reality.
What you'll see with your own eyes is that aging and death aren't just ideas, they're happening. You'll see that everything, every thought, every feeling, every little sensation is constantly changing. That's anicca. And because of that, you realize that nothing has a solid, permanent self. That's anaccata. And you'll discover that real goodness, real happiness, doesn't come from getting stuff. It comes from the simple quality of a heart that's at peace.
Let's just double-click on these two for a second, because they are massive. Anicca, the direct seeing that everything is temporary, everything is in flux. And anatta, the realization that there's no fixed, separate me in charge of the whole show. Really getting these two truths is what unlocks the whole path. Now, I know this might sound a little bit grim, seeing all this change and not self, but it's not the end of the story. Seeing reality clearly like this actually serves a very powerful purpose. It points you directly toward the ultimate goal of this whole practice.
You see, when you truly, deeply see that everything you try to cling to is temporary and not really you, you naturally start to become disenchanted with it all. And that's not a bad thing. It's not about becoming cynical, it's about becoming wise. You stop being fooled by things that promise lasting happiness but can never deliver.
This disenchantment, it leads to letting go. And that process of letting go is the goal. It's called nibbana. It's not a heaven you go to. It's a state of release, right here and now. It's unbinding yourself from that endless cycle of wanting and suffering. It's the deep, profound peace that comes when you finally stop fighting.
And that brings this whole epic journey right back to this very moment. You don't have to wait for some far-off enlightenment. The practice of letting go, of finding release, can start right now. So the question to leave you with is this. Looking at your own life, your own mind, what could you let go of, even just a little, to find a bit more peace right here, right now?